Hello everybody and welcome back to a very sunny episode of the Fully Charged Gardener, which is really nice actually because the weather the last couple of weeks has been horrendous. Non-stop rain pretty much. So anyway, today's video is a bit more about wisteria and just some hints and tips on tying in wisteria. We have a branch here that I want to put some wires in for and create another layer. And I also want to talk very briefly about this vine eye and this wire that I highlighted in the previous video. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link to it in the description below. So let's just take a closer look at this and I'll explain what I mean. So this is the section I want to show you, which I highlighted in the last video. And as you can see, the wisteria has grown into this vine eye and the wire is under a lot of tension and the plant has gone the wrong side of the wire. Ideally, we want the plant on this side of the wire, not stuck behind it. So this actually is a prime example of what not to do. Now, I have seen wisteria wrap itself around downpipes on a house and grow through metal railings, and it's been perfectly fine. It can look horrible as the plant calluses over, but these things are brutes and they will get their way around anything pretty much. So while I'm here doing this and releasing this wire, because we do have some little wire cutters at the back of the snips here, so don't worry too much. So we've released the wire there, and what I'm going to hopefully do is be able to just wiggle this plant and see if we can release it from the vine eye. It will come. Wisteria is quite flexible, so as you can see there, we've released it. There's a chunk behind. So what I might do actually is move our vine eye back here somewhere, put a new one in, and then we'll redo the wire. So here's another little tip for you. If you're working with lots of vine eyes like I do here, what I do is I cut a little notch in a vine eye and then I use it on the drill, and then I find it makes it a lot easier when unwinding old vine eyes or threading new ones in, because if they've been in there a while they can be quite stiff. Just like that, and out it pops. Okay, so there we have it. New vine eye in, moved it back a little bit further, just tied it back to the vine eye, and this is where it was pinching before, so the plant is now free to do its thing. Now, if you give wisteria an inch, it will take a mile. The stuff is an absolute brute. If you let it grow behind a downpipe or anything like that, it will push it off the wall. So always have it in front of downpipes or any cables you've got on the wall, and don't let it grow up into fascia boards and guttering, because it will pull those off too. It really is a brute. Right, so the next bit, I just want to put in a new wire so we can create a new layer for this bit to grow on through, and I'll just show you quickly how we do that. Placing our next hole for this piece of growth is quite important, because we don't want the same to happen to what happened to this poor guy over here. So we look at our tape measure and where the plant is going to end up for the next layer, and figure out where's the best place to put our vine eye, and I think our best place is about here somewhere. So we'll just let that loose a minute, make sure we get our spacing correct, and we're going to go right here. Awkward bit of stone as always. These vine eyes that I use are 100mm long. Pop it on in there, like so, and give it a tap. I like to put them in quite deep. And once you're in, I'll just give it a whizzy wazzy woo woo with the old drill just to tighten it up. Perfect. And then when we bend the plant down with its new wire, it's going to sit there beautifully. Right, only about another 20 to go. So what I use for tensioners are these little turnbuckle tensioners, and the first thing you have to do is unwind them. And then what we do, once we've released the buckle, is we take our wire and I just thread it through. We use a 3mm galvanized wire here, but you can use any wire you like. There's high tension wires, there's coated wires, you use whatever you want. We did used to use these little buckles to crimp the wire, but honestly they are such a pain in the ass, so I just wrap it and this seems to work perfectly fine. So all that's left to do now is tighten this up, so I just hold on to this end with my finger and twist it. That's lucky, because normally I go the wrong way first. We keep on twisting until we feel some tension coming up. And then as the tension takes on this end, you can let go so you don't pinch your fingers, just making sure that it does take, he says. Right, so there's plenty of tension in that. We don't want it like guitar tight, because for nothing else, if you're using a vine eye at the other end, just one of these, you'll find that you just bend them. You can use the anchor eyes, which we do use if we're doing really long stretches, but this is only a short stretch. And then what I'll do every year when I do my winter pruning of wisteria, I'll just come through and check tension of the wires and just give it a twist if I need to. And what I also tend to do is, so on the next layer, this will just have the vine eye at the other end, and I'll put the buckle at the other end, so we stagger our buckles, so you don't just end up with a row of buckles. I find when you do it alternate, it looks better aesthetically. So it's as simple as that. So again, we use this 3mm galvanized wire. We twist it, we don't use those little buckles, but use any wire you like. I just recommend these because it's dead easy to adjust the tension on the wire. Next job is just to tie in the plant. Again, the first tie-in that I do will be to a vine eye because it's the strongest point. Just tie it off there. Look at the colour on that stone as this sun begins to set today. Beautiful. So just to recap, we space our vine eyes about 1 metre apart, 1 to 2 metres. You know, the more vine eyes you've got in the wall, the stronger the support system is going to be. We use a 3mm galvanised wire with strainer buckles, and we just remember to not let wisteria grow behind things, because it will push them off the wall as it grows, because it is a bit of a brute. And we can just slide this along here. Again, training to nice lateral growths, because we're trying to slow that sap down and encourage some of these side buds to grow. And again, the plant is not behind the wire, because as we saw earlier, that's not good for business. Messed up there a bit, didn't I? Cut a bit too much string off, so we'll just tidy that up. And there we go. We've got our new lateral growth tied in. Got all these lovely buds here, which are going to give us our flowers. Wisteria tying in, done. I love the way this Cotswold stone glows in the sun. Beautiful. So just to recap quickly, we spaced our wisteria laterals about 1 foot to 18 inches apart. We spaced our vine eyes about 1 metre to 2 metres apart. The closer you get them, the better, because the stronger the support system is. We use a 3mm galvanised wire with tensioner buckles. The vine eyes we use are 100mm long with a 7mm ball plug. Again, just really important, don't let wisteria grow behind downpipes or wrap around cables and things as services on your house, because it is going to cause you problems down the line. It's all about preparation. The more effort you put in early on with a wisteria and getting the right supports in, the better it's going to be for you down the line. And I just wanted to show this as I did earlier on in the video, because even us professionals get caught out when wisteria grows over a vine eye and things like that. It does happen. Don't worry about it. Just make sure you fix it before the plant gets too big, that's all. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and found some useful hints and tips in it. Thank you very much for tuning in again. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.